All right, welcome back, my friend. So something happened to me recently with respect to my new DJI drone that I wanted to share with you all because I think this information may apply to many of you other motorcycle enthusiasts and or drone enthusiasts out there. So as you know, I've been posting a lot of new content with my new DJI Mini 4 Pro, and I had this epiphany where I realized even though I was flying my drone entirely recreationally and just for my own fun, nobody's employing me. I'm not inspecting radio towers or taking aerial imagery of rooftops for construction purposes or anything like that. But I had this moment where I realized, crap, my YouTube channel is monetized. And even though I only make a few pennies a week on the channel, technically and legally, if I post video footage that I've taken with my drone on my channel, then technically there is a payment for said videos, which in the eyes of the FAA means I am now flying that drone for business purposes. And so I immediately demonetized those videos, right? I took them offline. And you have to remember here too is that for the longest time, my channel was not monetized. So sharing just fun recreational videos, no harm. But the moment I flip that monetization on, even if I demonetize the videos with the drone footage in it, if someone comes to my channel through that demonetized video, but then clicks on a different video that is monetized, then technically I'm still getting monetized for that drone footage. Now, I bought that DJI Mini 4 Pro specifically because it's so light and because it's under 250 grams, you can fly it unregistered in uncontrolled airspace as long as you're not breaking any rules and you're flying responsibly and you take the online trust certificate course, which is free and just really simple to get through. You can fly as a hobbyist with an unregistered drone, but I wanted to do it legally and actually become a registered drone pilot so that I could fly and actually include my videos on my YouTube channel. Now, the short story without boring you is that I am now officially a registered drone pilot. Yay, I passed the test. So I thought I would first take you down a memory lane here. Many of you don't know this about me, but I am actually a pilot. Back in 2002, so yes, the year after 9/11, kind of an interesting year to try and learn how to fly a plane. I spent 2 years in Ohio going through full on flight school, right? So I did all the ground school, the ground training. I did all the flight training in a Cessna 150, so a very small two-seater plane. I was like 25 years old or 24 years old or something. I was really young, and I thought maybe this is where I wanted to shift my career. So I did all the ground school for single engine aircraft. So basically Cessnas, right? Small Cessnas. And passed the written test. And then I did my minimum 40 hours of flight training, learning all the maneuvers, the communications, the stalling, all of it. And my instructor was like 27. He was super young as well. Actually, he might have been younger than me. Um, who then ultimately went on to the Air Force to become like a Top Gun Air Force pilot. It's crazy. And right around Labor Day, I think it was the day after Labor Day, I took my check ride, so my flight exam with a FAA examiner. I went up in the plane. It was super stressful. He was like stone cold. Do this maneuver, do this maneuver. It was very stressful. But I passed and I got my pilot's license. And this is you have it for life. The only thing that you need to do to remain current is you have to go up every 2 years with just an FAA or just a flight instructor. It doesn't have to be an FAA examiner, any instructor, and just redo all the maneuvers just to show that you still know how to do them. And as long as they say you're good, they check you off. And as long as you have a recent medical exam that says you're medically fit to fly, which is basically just a physical, um, they check you off and you're good for 2 years. And I have not done that in 2 years. I have not flown a plane since 2007. So I am not a current pilot, but technically I am a pilot. The short of it is that because of all that training, and especially all of the book training, like the ground school knowledge that I attained from that, I was able to retain a lot of that information. And I don't know why, it's just one of those things, those weird quirks with me, but I have a knack for retaining just the most obscure, ridiculous knowledge. Like, I remembered that when you're flying VFR, visual flight rule, you have to maintain 500 feet from the cloud deck vertically and 2,000 horizontally. Why do I remember that? I have no idea. I just remember that. And so when I looked up what it takes to become a drone pilot, what I found was that you have to take a written test. However, 50% of that written test is basically studying and understanding flight maps. And I love maps, right? You know this, Treks to Nowhere. I am a map geek, and my favorite types of maps that exist out there are flight sectional maps. I just love them. I literally keep copies of them around the house. Just when I'm sitting down and I'm bored, I like study sectional maps. Who does that? That's so weird. So I love these maps. I loved the training. And when I looked into what it took to become a drone pilot, basically what I discovered is that most of the knowledge you need is sort of general aviation knowledge, with a small subsection of it being specific to drones. And so that was the stuff that I don't know. I don't know all the rules about categories of drones and rules about remote ID and flying at night and how to get FAA permission to fly in classes of airspace. And so what I did was I studied. I crammed basically. And over 3 days, I studied for the drone exam. It's actually called the Small Unmanned Aircraft System. So SUAS. I wanted to give you all some knowledge about how I studied for this exam because I really believe that we should all be certified drone pilots. Now my drone will be officially registered under that Part 107, it's called, the Part 107, like professional business drone usage, which means anytime I fly it now, it's registered, I'm good to go. If anyone actually comes up to me and says, "Do you have a license to fly that?" I can say, "Yes, I do." And as long as I don't break airspace rules, now I'm registered. And I really think this is valuable. Now, there are definitely people out there that don't want to register because they want to stay kind of surreptitious. They want to stay under the radar, figuratively and literally. They want to stay hidden, and they want to stay in a situation where their drone does not broadcast. As of a few years ago now, all drones are required by law, if they're over 250 grams or they are registered as a business drone or unmanned aircraft, have to broadcast data constantly about themselves. And this is called remote ID. So all drones now that are over 250 grams, regardless, have to transmit location, serial number, altitude, GPS, lat long, all that stuff constantly. So at any point, someone could, using Wi-Fi, see your drone. And so if you fly into like restricted airspace near an airport, say, and you are broadcasting, you will be picked up. And someone, in theory, could come out and cite you. So this is another reason why I wanted to just be legal and do this all properly. Now, what's interesting about the DJI Mini 4 Pro is you can buy two different batteries for it. The regular, which is the 249-gram ultralight battery, and the Plus battery, which gives you more flight time. However, the way that the software is configured in the drone is if you put in the heavier battery, it automatically turns the remote broadcast on. If you put in the light battery, it automatically turns it off. So this is where it gets a little weird, because if I put an ultralight battery in my drone, even though I'm registered and the drone is registered, it now flies silent. It doesn't broadcast itself. And so in theory, if I wanted to go fly someplace I'm not supposed to, I could still do that. And other people could still do that, which I think is a flaw in the design. I just think it should always broadcast. But anyway, I did take the exam. I did pass it. And here's what I would recommend for you if you are thinking about doing this. If you have any sort of ground school or flight training, um, you can literally watch like 3 or 4 YouTube videos that just kind of speed run you through all the important information. And then what I did was I downloaded this app on my phone that is like the official FAA sponsored practice exam app, and it has like 400 questions in it. And many of those questions are taken right from the official exam. I think I probably got like 2 or 3 in my actual exam that were like verbatim, but many were just like similar or slightly altered. So like I was familiar with kind of what they were asking. And so what I did was I watched those like 4 videos multiple times, and then I just started speed running through all those questions. So I would do all 400 questions, and then I would do all 400 again. And each time I would go through and I get one wrong, I'd read the explanation of why I was wrong. And so after like 2 days of doing that, I was basically getting every question right, and not just like memorizing the question, but understanding why they were right. And I did this over like 3 days when I also happened to be really sick. So I was just lying in bed anyway. And so in basically 48 hours, I crammed for this test and then registered for it, which by the way, it is $175 to take this exam. So not cheap. And sat down at Embry-Riddle University, which is a flight school, in their examination room and took the exam and got a 97% on it. So I missed 2 questions, but that's the story. So please, what I will do is I will put some links down in the description. Basically, there's one Reddit thread that has everything in it. It's like, do this, do this, do this, watch this video, watch this video, watch this video, and then download this app. Go through that Reddit thread and do those things. And if you don't have any flight knowledge or any knowledge at all, and you're coming at this completely fresh, definitely spend more than 3 days cramming because you'll probably fail the exam. But if you have any training at all or any background in aviation, or even if it's just like a cursory level, like you know a little bit about some of the flight rules or airspace rules, you're already probably at a decent spot. The last thing I'd say is if you only ever plan to use your drone footage for recreational purposes, hobby purposes, or putting them on a YouTube channel that's non-monetized, just sort of for fun, um, then I really do think you should take this trust exam, which is basically just an online quiz. I think it took me 15 minutes, and it's just very basic questions, like very common sense. You don't need to study for it. Just kind of take it, and it shows that you understand. You can't fly over 400 feet or 120 meters. Don't breach airspace. Don't fly, hover over people. Don't drop things from your drone, very obvious things, right? So take that because people have been asked to show that they have this. So basically, I have this. It's kind of redundant now. I don't need it since I have my license, but take that and you can still register your drone even as a recreational flyer. And you have to register your drone if it's over 250 grams. So it's $5 to register your drone. Just do it. If you plan on flying anything over 250 grams, or you just want your drone to be registered and official. But if you want to stay completely hidden and you don't want your drone broadcasting and you don't want people knowing you're flying and you just want to stay super sneaky for whatever reasons that you want, I'm not going to ask, then make sure you're flying a drone under 250 grams. Make sure you're flying it with the correct battery so it doesn't trigger the remote ID. And all you really need to do is to take this. You don't have to register your drone. You can keep it unregistered. Be as sneaky as you want to be. Just know that if someone catches you, you can get serious fines and even jail time if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. So there are consequences, and there are people who have videos on YouTube talking about how they got busted and now have massive fines and they're going to court and they're being made examples of. So anyway, I'll leave you with some fun photos of my days in a Cessna, and I will see you guys all in the next video.